This show is amazing to me in the fact that the depth of almost the darkness, I want to say, that she goes through is visceral. Like, I'm sitting there cringing, I think, and that's like a good thing because I don't see many shows that do that.
Yes.
So for you, going into season 2, what were you, how do you work up to this? Because it seems like she's even in a darker place now than she was.
Yeah. This isn't a character that's ever been kind of like Holly Homemaker. Is it Holly or Polly? Or Molly?
I'm not sure.
But anyway, it's one of those. So she's never been kind of like, oh, I'll wear an apron and I'll cook or bake brownies. Whatever one does with brownies. So this character's always been kind of punk rocky, even before she was in captivity. However, this takes it to an entirely different level. When we start off season 2, we have a character whose identity is completely fractured. She's putting the pieces of it back together, and so much of it involves trying to figure out a history or a set of memories that are convoluted in her brain and really foggy. And in order to do that, she has to go on this kind of big search, big hunt, and luckily she has a few people that are willing to help her along the way.
And I found it really almost painful seeing how she responds to her son in the first episode.
Yes.
Just that whole, like, where does she go this season with this? Because is she going to find some semblance of healing this season, or is that still ways off?
It's interesting. There is a line this season, and I'm not giving away anything by giving you this line. There's a line that the character says at one point. She's helping someone, and she says, "Don't let them write your history for you." And I think that in some ways this character evolves into a place of empowerment, into a place of dominion over her own, if not entire being, at least the eventual future of it this season. And then of course her relationship with her son is the fulcrum of her existence. It's the thing that helped her survive in the tank for those years, and it's something that is very motivating for her. However, before she's able to find the new normal with him, she has to make sure that she's safe for him, that he's safe around her.
And it's just the first episode alone where she goes, like in that short time, it's very moving. Is she, how does she deal with her husband this season? I'm curious.
Yeah.
Like, because that's a whole new thing now with the new trouble.
Yeah.
She seems thrust back with him a little bit, I would say, I guess.
So Emily and Nick, at the conclusion of season 1, kind of came to an understanding that he was going to continue with his life with his new wife. His new wife was pregnant, and there was a future there that he needed to honor from his end. And so I think for the Emily character, what's really interesting was while we were working on season 1, both for me and for Cara Theobald, who's playing Alice, who's playing the other mother, Flynn's other mother, it's really important that these two characters weren't pitted against each other unnecessarily, just because they're two women. What we both thought, and I especially kind of felt, if a person comes back from a traumatic situation and realizes that someone else was protecting and caring for your child in a way that you would hope would happen, you can't be anything but respectful to that person and grateful ultimately. So there is a level of an understanding. It's uncomfortable in that family, of course, because the situation is so extreme. These two women do have a certain amount of respect and understanding for each other, and I think we see that unfold as the season goes on even more so.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, as executive producer on the show, what's that like for a second season? Did you pick up new tools for now doing it a second time, or what's that like?
Well, there's a shorthand, of course. In the second season, all the actors know each other. We are familiar with our director and with just kind of the lay of the land, our crew and so forth. So shorthand is money in the bank. When you've worked with someone for a while and being able to just kind of, zip, zam, zoom and find the scene quickly, it means that we get more takes, it means we get more angles, it means we get to find a more interesting way into a scene. So that was really helpful. And then, as an executive producer, of course, I found myself working, on my character, but also trying to be of assistance and trying to be a support for the directors. Some of them were new. We had 2 new directors this season come in, and just to help them understand some of the institutional knowledge and a little bit of the tone of this new season. So one thing that's worth mentioning is in the first season, we, as an audience, experience Emily from an objective point of view for the first half of the season. And a lot of that has to do with keeping her a mystery to the audience as well. And then we dive in and we kind of walk alongside her, so we get to know her a bit better as we move on to the latter half of the first season. In the second season, we walk alongside her a lot more intimately, and we discover that she is a mystery to herself.
Right.
And so as she's putting the pieces of her fragmented identity back together again, we're experiencing it quite intimately, almost like in a Fincher-esque sort of film way. And the other thing to know is that in the second season, every single character has a really interesting arc and an unusual and unexpected arc. And I think that audiences are going to respond to, you know, experiencing and learning more about Jack, more about Tommy, about Nick and all of it. So yeah, I'm excited.
And a little surprise at the end of the first episode as well that will be fun to unravel. Well, thank you very much.